Yes, just now we were here at Matsul Market, and I'm walking towards this corner here, which is a very good point where we can see a lot of almost like the whole of Chinatown here, right? We have the temple that side, we have this building, old building here, and another one in this corner, and that side is the one of the government really quite famous URA building and Maxwell House. So this is a very good, in fact, a very good vantage point to sketch. Okay, as mentioned, and there's also a mix of old and new architecture here, which is I'm always quite interested to see. I'm not sure for you guys, but this is really a very interesting scene for me. You can really tell how much actually Singapore is just a mixture of the old and the new buildings. Yeah. This is a very good vantage point as mentioned before, right? And I can see almost everything about Chinatown. As I said, on the other side is the temple, which is will tell you that most of this, I mean, used to be really concentrated with Chinese communities, and this is a very good site, actually location to paint. One thing is shaded, okay, and the other thing is you can see really this nice, beautiful angle of that building. One thing really important in a way when you go and paint outside is to find comfort, right? Even though you're outside, you have to find a place that you're comfortable. Otherwise, it's kind of difficult, especially with some of these outside elements, right? Heat and all those. So it's very important to find comfort actually when you paint outside. Right? So one thing, very important. And the other thing is, yes, during my process here, I'm gonna start sketching. Normally, I will do in the studio, I will do a study of thumbnails, right? Very small sketches that will determine how I'm gonna go with my process, especially as a guide. Yeah, a sketch is a guide. Remember that. But in outdoors, that is actually sometimes I skip it because it's more fun, to just go straight to your painting because of these elements outside, bothering you, the heat, the sound, and all those. So it's always nice to just adapt to it and just go straight to your subject. And the sketch itself, when I do my sketch, is kind of just directly go through my mind what I'm gonna do with the second, which is my first was, and the third was, and whatever the next process that I would like to do. So my sketch is always a guide. One thing though, before going to, in fact, your painting, your coloring, I have what I have here are the basic colors that I have when doing outside painting or plein air, that's what we call it. I have, make sure you have your tissue, because if you sweat, you can always use your tissue to wipe your face, whatever. Yeah, sweating. But this is going to be my eraser as well. And I have my color pigments here, consists mainly of primary colors and a color palette, water container, and water spray. I mean, this is water spray is just something that I use to add extra fluidity to my painting, as if I feel like showing it, and really showing you a little bit more spontaneous and a more fluid kind of painting. Yeah, so painting outside again it has a time element to it, and you have to be a bit quicker because again it's the outside elements, right? So that is more fun for me. Yeah. Now I'm gonna just go straight to coloring. Yep. So what I see in this case, because I'm kind of concerned about my timing, I'm gonna just paint more saturated colors on my subject. My subject is actually this building here. Yeah, as you notice. So just gonna go straight to it. Really quite quick, wet on wet, sometimes wet on dry. I'm just gonna mix it together. This building is quite brown and quite orangey, but I'm gonna just make it a bit more saturated. Yep, a bit more saturated, just to get the feel of the color of the building. Yeah. because this is gonna be my subject. So I paint what color I see. What I'm saying is the color, the local color that I see, I just right away paint. And if I see green, I paint green. If I see red, I paint red. So things like that. Yep. So this is gonna be quick. So more saturated color in front and desaturated color behind. Yep. So you just have to have the right balance though between saturated. So most of the background will be more desaturated and more saturated colors comes through the foreground or middle ground. Or sometimes I just want to play around with it, that's also okay. But mainly, as mentioned before, that is the big shape of my middle ground, right? So I'm doing it first. Contrary to some of my studio works, which I normally do the background first. So in watercolor, it doesn't mean sometimes that you have to follow rules, right? Exactly as some of us would tell you, but sometimes you just have to use your instinct and be smart enough with which one you want to do first, right? Because of timing, because of limitations, you have to adjust. That is the most fun about painting outside. You have to be able to adjust. Yep. Those areas in the background, it doesn't have to be really saturated. You can have it a little bit more desaturated. So in fact, just do like an impression of what you see, right? Just a suggestion of colors. So if you notice also the first wash, I'm actually just playing with my local colors, and it's quite light, meaning not necessarily the color is light, but I had it more diluted. Yeah. Just to get the feel. Yeah. Again. Okay, so now I'm gonna start also from the background. I'm gonna finish up my sky. Yeah, since the sky is a bit more important to get these forms right. So as you can see again, it's a local color that I'm using. Things like that. Now, if you notice as well, I have more or less kind of have my first wash laid down, so I can start doing my details now for my second wash, right? Things like this. So this is, I'm doing my second wash now, which is in fact a bit darker than my first wash. Um, Again, I always, it's fun with making it light first in the beginning, especially when I do my second wash, because I just want to get the feel out of my form, right? Especially the subject. Yeah? Otherwise, it might be quite difficult for you guys to determine the form later on if you want to really go straight to dark or go straight to detailing. Yeah? So I'm just kind of get the feel of my form here. And see if I can still connect some of these elements here on the background and middle ground and everything else here. Okay, that is quite okay with me. Of my background. Now I don't have to really detail so much because this is the background, you know, as you know, backgrounds are almost really not so clear, so I don't want to detail too much. Right, this is the background, so it will just make sense that you don't have to do so much of it. Not so dark, just a suggestions of what you probably could see. Yeah, if I see horizontal lines, you just paint horizontal lines. Yeah. If I see vertical lines, then paint vertical lines. So, in fact, again, it's all about forms and shapes, right? So I begin with shapes with my sketch, and I followed it up with my washes to reinforce the shapes by showing forms. Okay, so there you go. I always love to have my foreground a bit darker to bring out the subject a little bit more, to highlight. Do later on. Okay, so I'm gonna go with my detailing now. That means I'm gonna be focusing more really to my subject, yeah, which is gonna be my last wash, and some of these areas that I want to show in the middle ground. Okay. Okay, maybe it's too dark. Okay, let's do this. Let's get all right. Most important thing is I'm gonna just have to get the shape, right? The shape. darker if I want to later on. Yep. So again, main thing is to capture the subject right first. Now I will, so I can control how much dark or how much light could I capture at the same manner, right? Because painting for me is in fact capturing the light, right? So if you notice, I'm just following the dark at the same time as well. I'm in fact trying to capture the light as well. So subject would be more to really, you can find a bit more darker shapes there. I need to have a more saturated color here, right, to bring out my subject a little bit more. So I'm adjusting my colors here. I'm just gonna connect it. Shadow here, so it doesn't have this really strong. Deeper colors now. I want to make it a bit more cooler. Yeah, make it more cooler and warmer. So I'm just playing around with colors. Let's see what I can do here. Details. Some shadows, some layers, things like that. Right? Okay. Almost done. Create some shadows for my guys here. Decoration. Right. There you go. I'm doing small little details now. In fact, more to really a little bit more vertical lines, because as the way I see it, you know, buildings are just normally made of vertical and horizontal lines, and it seems all vertical. So that's what you can see. You can actually see it in actual. You have really a good combination of these lines. Yeah, so don't be afraid, okay? Just use your intuition, yeah, to just have fun with it and see what you can do to create layers. Now my last layer, which is detailing, which is almost like you are like 90% of your drawing, I call it like push and pull, right? Push and pull, meaning I'm in fact pulling out something and pushing out something. Not sure what you're pulling out. Somebody laughed in here. But yeah, it's push and pull. There's a really big ball right in front in this one here. Oh, a street lamp. Okay. Do I need to put this tree? I'm not so sure yet, but I'll see how, right? I want to put this guy. There's some little guys here. Oh, yeah. Some guys here standing and whatever. Yep. This one will be more interesting. Okay, make more saturated colors in front so you can actually push some of those behind. And then I'm just gonna make this one a little bit dark. Yep. So again, the beauty about making or painting outside is really quite fun because you are allowed as an artist to just more or less create your own, but still maintaining the integrity of what you see in terms of, in this case, that building there, you know, an old building. And so it's kind of, yeah, you have some little palm trees here, Maxwell Market, things like that. Perhaps I want to add it on here a little bit so I could create some sort of perspective, you know, create sort of a vanishing point, right? Giving depth to whatever I have here, and at the same time from this side to this side. So that one is farther, this is nearer. So perspective. And then try to mess up your painting. Okay, there you go. So I hope you guys enjoy it, so you can sign it and share it to your friends. This is Singapore. Thank you very much. So this is the done piece that I had just now. It's a 30-minute more or less kind of very quick sketch of painting outdoors. So again, you know, it is very important to recognize your limitations, especially when you do paint outside. More really to enjoying yourself, trying to get into the ambience by just looking at the general shapes first, and then just giving its form in terms of how to paint. Yeah, so it's more like to simplify it as the way you see it. Yeah, don't have to be so detailed, but getting the right and major details that would capture the whole ambience about this building, as what you can see here, right? So that's the original. This is my interpretation. More really concentrating on the arches and this one here, right?
Okay.
So yeah, so that is concentrating on the details after giving out really understanding the bigger shapes and how to connect. Bigger shapes meaning normally for me is about background, middle ground, and foreground. Background, middle ground, is foreground, right? So think about it, just try to connect it, make it quick, enjoy more, right? See you.